The Academy began as a response to the Heritage Foundation making the tough but necessary choice to cancel our summer internship program due to COVID-19. We wanted to provide a leadership program for those who would have been with us, as well as expand the programming for those who wanted an education in liberty, as well as the opportunity to be affiliated with the Heritage Foundation in the midst of a global pandemic. The Young Leaders Program then accepted 200 fellows to participate in our inaugural class, where we sought to teach you more about our first principles, discuss domestic and foreign policy, and strengthen your leadership skills. I sincerely hope we were successful in assisting with this goal. A lot went into this program, and I want to start off by thanking the Heritage Foundation for allowing the Young Leaders Program the opportunity to put this together. Thank you, Mrs. James, for your leadership in wanting us to innovate. Thank you to my champion, Bridget Wagner, for seeing the vision with me. And lastly, thank you to my team, Colleen Harmon and Kelly Batfavong. Without your work, support, and dedication, this program would not have happened. And it's because of them that we were able to host 40 Academy programs, over 70 cohort meetings, and reviewed almost 60 capstone projects. I also want to say thank you so much to the over 70 colleagues that assisted with the Academy to become what it was. We are so grateful to the colleagues who assisted with the foundation, platform, teachings, capstone reviews. And I also want to say a very special thank you to Becca Portugal. She was pivotal in the success of this program in assisting with taking the Academy off the ground with recordings, operations, and platform. Becca, I celebrate this success with you as well as with the events team. 2020 will be a year to remember. A global pandemic, civic unrest, cancel culture, and all of this in a presidential year. I congratulate you all for not standing idly by. You pursued leadership training and advancement in your knowledge that hopefully challenged you. You met people from across the country who want to build an America where freedom, opportunity, prosperity, and civil society flourish. You also met people from different countries who want the same for their countries and are trying to learn from us. I want you to understand that if we can be of help to you, I hope you let us know. We want to help you in your professional development, so please see us as a resource. You are now forever members of the Heritage Foundation family. Lastly, I want to challenge you to continue the brave work of saving our country. Look around you, watch the news, listen to your family and friends. What do you hear? In many corners of our nation, fear has gripped our hearts, causing us to worry about whether or not we can withstand the storms of a pandemic and national unrest. Do not give in to these fears. Instead, let them motivate you to work harder than ever, preparing yourself to be the solution in your community, helping those around you, and maintaining a spirit of courage. Ours has never been the easy fight, but as conservatives, it's the fight we must join. In his State of the Union address this year, the president gave an assessment of the country that preceded the pandemic, and those words still ring true. He said, "Our most thrilling stories are not yet told. Our grandest journeys are not yet made. The American age, the American epic, the American adventure has only just begun. Our spirit is still young. The sun is still rising, God's grace is still shining, and the best is yet to come." I congratulate you for being inaugural members of the Academy. I feel inspired and motivated to press on and continue the fight for freedom, knowing I have you all doing the same. Congratulations, Academy Fellows. We're now going to hear from a few Academy Fellows about their experience.
Hello, my name is Shadi Spencer, and I'm currently pursuing a dual master's in public policy and national security with Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. Being a part of the Academy and the Heritage Foundation community has been by far the best experience of my college career. It surely will never be forgotten. My experience with the Academy was remarkable in many ways, the Academy was completely well-rounded as I learned about the foundational principles of America, as well as about various domestic and foreign policy issues. I gained so much knowledge from the lectures and learned from the best. For instance, I really enjoyed listening to the human rights lecture by senior policy analyst Olivia Enos. As a member and an advocate for the persecuted church in Egypt, this topic was important to me personally. As a foreign national, it was great learning about conservative policies that advocate for human rights. I also love listening to Dr. Ryan Anderson's lecture on the right to life. As a conservative, I am often faced with debates on this topic, and it was very eye-opening learning how to defend and stand for my beliefs against arguments of abortion, for example. My favorite experience with the Academy, however, was the cohort meetings. I was joined with a group of other Academy Fellows that shared similar policy interests as me, which was foreign policy. It was such a growing experience being able to discuss my thoughts on the lectures, foreign policy issues, and seeking solutions alongside other Academy Fellows. In application, the Academy has ultimately sharpened my knowledge and wisdom on how to truly face and solve the root causes of current policy issues facing the U.S., while remaining in alignment with the foundational principles of the Constitution and conservative cause. My hopes are that the Academy has further equipped us in leading and making a difference in our communities and career fields. I wish that other Academy Fellows and participants have greatly enjoyed their experience with the Academy this summer. I would not trade this experience for anything. I learned so much, and I cannot wait to see this effort applied in both my daily life and future career. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Sarah Williams. I'm a recent graduate of Pensacola Christian College with bachelor's degrees in history and English education and a minor in political science. As an inaugural fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Academy, a highlight of participating was the incredible opportunity to learn from scholars and policy analysts. I was able to deepen my understanding of a broad range of policy issues. One of my favorite lectures this summer was Dr. Lee Edwards' talk on the history of the American conservative movement. I had read some of Dr. Edwards' books in college, and it was so special to hear him speak directly to the Academy participants and have the opportunity to interact with him through live Q&A. I also greatly enjoyed Niall Gardner's lecture on Brexit. I've been fascinated in watching Brexit unfold ever since 2016, and hearing directly from Niall Gardner was such an incredible opportunity. The Academy also challenged me to learn more about topics that I had not studied in depth before, such as John Malcolm's lecture on criminal justice reform and Chris Horner's lecture on environmental policy. Both of these lectures deepened my understanding of these issues and challenged me to learn more. The time with my cohort group was another highlight of the Academy. Our cohort meetings were always full of vigorous discussion about topics ranging from Supreme Court opinions, cancel culture, the death penalty, and the Constitution. My fellow cohort members always inspired me to continue learning, engaging, and participating in the conservative movement. Congratulations to all my fellow Academy participants. We have used this summer to pursue a worthy endeavor. I challenge all of us to use what we have learned in the Academy to encourage other young people on our campuses, in our communities, and in our workplaces to dedicate themselves to the founding principles and value the freedoms that we have been given.
Hello everyone, my name is Darius Franklin. I'm a homeschool student going into my senior year of high school, and I would like to share my experience with the Heritage Foundation Academy. Over the past 12 weeks, I've enjoyed watching lectures from some of the greatest scholars associated with the foundation, while participating in live Q&A sessions and engaging with my fellow peers in bi-weekly cohort meetings. One of my favorite moments of learning was watching senior fellow Michael Gonzalez's talk about 20th century Marxist thinkers and their plot to change America. It was an eye-opening lecture and exceedingly timely considering the events in our culture today. I sincerely hope that this inaugural class of the Academy goes on to greatly impact America for the better. I know that I, as an aspiring attorney, will take this information into the world of law, but I would encourage any conservative looking to make a difference to apply to the Academy and acquire the tools necessary to impact the world around them. Thank you.
Hello, fellow Academy Fellows. My name is Jacob Kersey, and I'm excited about this opportunity to address you briefly. First, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a podcaster. I host the Jacob Kersey program. Started about 4 years ago. I'm a homeschooler. I'm going into my senior year. And finally, I'm a former historical interpreter. I used to teach history, give tours, give educational programs for a historic site here in Georgia. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity I had to be a part of the inaugural class of the Academy. I just want to say, Elena, Kelly, and the whole YLP team did a terrific job, and so did all of you, the Academy Fellows. I'm also grateful for the opportunity I had to work with 5 very brilliant fellows, Ian, Samantha, Maggie, Teresa, and Martha. I'm really excited to see where all of you are going to go, and I'm thankful for the opportunity I had to connect with you here on the Academy. I just want to encourage all of you as we move on from the Academy and we take what we've learned and we go and put this into action. I just want to encourage you with 3 things. The first being, discover the why of what you believe. We have to move past just knowing what we believe and stating what we believe. We need to know why. That's how we're going to win people. And when you discover that why, it's going to give you a great sense of purpose and make you much more effective. Secondly, I just want to restate something my friend Mr. Olivastro said recently on one of our live sessions, and that is to get action. Mr. Olivastro said that since our ideas truly do promote human flourishing and the greater good, we have a moral obligation to share those. And we do that by taking action. And when you discover the why behind what you believe, it's going to make you much more effective in doing this. It's going to give you the courage to do it. And last, but definitely not least, is don't waste your life. I used to think that my life was something that would take place 20 years down the road. But I've come to realize that my life is what I'm blessed with right now, what I'm doing right now. And I can certainly say I don't believe I've wasted my life these past 12 weeks being a part of the Academy, and I don't believe you have either. Have hope, find purpose, and take action. If you do this, you will have made it count. Thank you all for a great 12 weeks, and I look forward to seeing where all of you are going to go in the future.
Lastly, we have a few very special guests that wanted to congratulate you on your success of this program. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Congratulations to the inaugural graduating class of the Heritage Foundation Academy. You're watching this on a computer screen or your phone, and I'm speaking to you virtually, so needless to say, this is not the graduation ceremony you expected or wanted, but I want to tell you something you might not hear that often. Embrace it. Embrace that you are graduating from the Heritage Academy in one of the most trying times in our country's history. Embrace that you will be entering a far different world than just 1 year ago. In other words, embrace the hardship, because in reality, you don't really have a choice. And don't just embrace it for yourself, embrace it for the country you want to see, the one that you envision. In the midst of COVID-19, 200 of you decided to learn, study, and engage with one another about conservative solutions to America's most pressing problems. It's no surprise that you did. All of you are already leaders in schools, communities, and organizations. The Heritage Academy will just take your leadership abilities to the next level. You're going to be back in college campuses and communities that often are not friendly to your political views. Cancel culture was already running rampant on campuses, and even more so now, but you cannot let this scare you away from your beliefs. As you leave the Heritage Academy, continue to speak your mind and push back against those who want you to conform to their progressive ideology. Continue to debunk the myths pushed breathlessly by the left. Continue to tell the real story about America, a story of individual liberty and God-given rights that are the foundation for prosperity and freedom in this country. This is your duty. It's your duty to stay involved in the pressing issues for our country. Get engaged in conversations, stand firm, and remember that you are fighting to preserve the greatest country that ever existed. Americans in my generation and your generation have a lot of work ahead of us. I look forward to working alongside all of you at the Heritage Academy as graduates when our paths are sure to cross in the future. Thank you, and once again, congratulations.
Academy Fellows, it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce our main graduation speaker today, Cheryl Batchelder, is not a stranger to the Heritage Foundation, and in fact, her parents were longtime supporters of the foundation itself. We're so grateful to have you here, Cheryl. She is a passionate, purpose-led business leader and, most notably, the former CEO of Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Incorporated. She's known for her crisp, strategic thinking, a franchisee-focused approach, and a superior financial performance. Guided by the servant leadership thinking of Robert Greenleaf, she believes in high-caring, collaborative leaders with big ambitions for the enterprise, not for themselves. That they generate the conditions for people to perform their best work. Cheryl holds a bachelor's and MBA degree from the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University, and she's married of 38 years. Wow, congratulations, Cheryl, to Chris Batchelder. And they have 3 grown daughters, 2 terrific son-in-laws, apparently 4 very handsome grandsons. She resides in Atlanta, Georgia, and is here with us today. Cheryl, thank you so much for being our notable graduation speaker today for our inaugural class of the Academy.
Thank you so much. It is such a wonderful opportunity to speak with you here this afternoon as you graduate from the Heritage Academy Fellows Program. I so admire the work of the Heritage Foundation. Under the leadership of Kay James, Heritage is doing such noble and important work. And for this time, you've had the privilege to be a part of that mission, to listen to these perspectives, be challenged in your thinking, and perhaps grow in your convictions. I applaud your decision to be part of the Academy Fellows and your accomplishment today of graduating from the program. Congratulations to each of you. Now, hasn't 2020 been an exciting year where nothing has gone as you planned, hoped for, or expected? I've been joking, what's going to come next? Is it going to be locusts? At the end of the day, the word of the year seems to be pivot because we keep adjusting our plans, our hopes, and our expectations. So I thought it would be appropriate today to suggest to you a pivot in your thinking about leadership. A pivot from what culture defines it as to something far more impactful called servant leadership. So as I speak to you today, I want you to think about this question of what kind of leader will I be? In the time we have together, I'm going to give you 4 principles to serve as guides to you in your leadership journey. Principles that steer you towards a life of positive influence and impact on others. But before I give you those 4 guideposts, I want to talk for just a minute about this thing we call leadership. And the starting point is this. No matter where you sit in your life today, in your work, I believe you are a leader. John Maxwell says leadership is influence. Leadership's not a position, it's not a title, it's not about how many people report to you. Instead, it's an opportunity every one of us has been given to influence the lives of the people that we come in contact with. If you understand leadership that way, you will find opportunities everywhere to lead, at work, in your friendships, in your family, in the community, and in the world. You will have the opportunity to influence others. Now, for years, I was hunting for kind of a perfect definition of leadership, and I finally found a collection of words that I think captures all the important elements of leadership. It's from an author named James C. Hunter, who wrote The World's Most Powerful Leadership Principle. Here's how it goes. Hunter says, leadership is the skills of influencing people to enthusiastically work towards goals identified as being for the common good, with character that inspires confidence. These are the key elements of leadership, and in particular, servant leadership. We've talked about influence. Then there's enthusiasm. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm. Why would anyone follow you if you're not excited about where you're going on the journey? Goals. I would prefer that Hunter had said bold, hairy, audacious goals, because I think great leaders have the courage to take people somewhere daring and important. But the goals are not for self. The goals are for the common good, the people and the organization that have been trusted to the leader's care. And the traits of a great leader, character, far more important than competence. People will follow you for your character. People will fire you for lapses in character. And character, if it's confirmed by how you live your life, your actions will inspire confidence in your leadership. People will want to follow an authentic, inspired, confident leader. They don't particularly want to follow a self-centered, high ego, prideful person. So character inspires confidence. So these are the essentials: influence, enthusiasm, bold goals, focus on others, character, and confidence. I want to challenge you today to consider your definition of leadership, because each of us is on a journey to find our own. What kind of leader will you be? Let's now unpack the 4 principles that can encourage you in your leadership journey. As we talk about them, I suspect you've already seen the work of these principles in some aspect of your life experience. Principle number 1, listen carefully and learn continuously. Principle number 2, embrace adversity. Principle number 3, do something brave. Principle number 4, serve people well. Let's walk through them one at a time. First principle, listen carefully and learn continuously about leadership. When I was 32 years old, I was asked to lead a marketing product development team for a food company. And like any young leader, I was really excited. I got promoted. It was a great opportunity. And the day got off to a fabulous start when my new boss sat down with me and looked at me and he said, "I'm so excited to put you in this role. You are part of a great team. We're going to lead and grow this company together. Each of you brings unique talents to the table, and collaboratively, I'm confident we're going to be successful." I remember going home that night, and I typically tell my family everything at night about how exciting I thought this job was going to be, how much fun I thought we would have as we grew this strategy for the future. Now, mind you, we were a company selling candy and snacks and gum. We weren't curing cancer. But the leader I met that day set the stage in a beautiful way. He celebrated each person's strengths. He set a principle of collaboration that would guide how we work together. And he even promised that we would be successful and have fun in the process. Little did I know at the time that that 1 year ahead would be one of the best years of my career, because the leader was for us. He set us up for success. He enthusiastically went with us on that journey, and the things that we accomplished together were fabulous. It still brings me joy to think about it. Now, when that leader retired the next year, the next leader was not so great. He was more self-absorbed, seeking his own agenda, his own success, his own rewards. He could be condescending and rude, divisive to team spirit, and just plain discouraging to most he came in contact with. The 1 year I worked for this leader was one of the worst years of my career, and the business results tanked as well. So looking back, this experience was seminal to my leadership journey. In a matter of 2 short years, I witnessed a live demonstration of what great leaders do to create the conditions for people to perform their best work. And I learned what poor leaders do that unravel the conditions for people to lead and produce results. I listened carefully to these lessons, and I began to learn something about leadership. Every day, you have the same opportunity. Now, everyone in the world is looking for a mentor. That's great. But I would tell you the best lessons come from everyday observations that you see with your own eyes and hear with your own ears. If you put those lessons in your journal, if you make 2 columns and describe the traits of the leaders that you meet, good or not so good, you'll start deciding which column you want to be in. What kind of leader will you be? Now remember, you're a leader right now. Listen carefully and learn continuously. Principle number 2, embrace adversity. Why? It happens to be your preparation for leadership. The truth of the matter is that in life, whether we like it or not, we have trials and tribulations. And I would say now, thank goodness. Here's why. We don't learn all that much from success, but a good failure, or a wipeout as I call them, will give you lessons that you remember for life. The things that bring us flat to the floor, to the end of everything we think we know, those are the best things that can possibly happen to you. Adversity is always preparation for a future leadership opportunity. We need to embrace it, not love it, but see it for the role that it plays in our lives. So for me, in the fall of 2001, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Now, there was no family history, so it never occurred to me that this would be part of my life experience. And I'm pretty much a type A person. I had a plan for my work and my life, and this news threw me for a loop. It knocked me down, took the wind out of my sails. There was a physical diagnosis and a treatment plan. That wasn't the hard part. The hard part was the confrontation to my life plan, the unexpected that brought me to my knees. Breast cancer forced me to wrestle with and then understand I'm not in control of all the outcomes or even my life. Challenged me to become more intentional about how I spend my time and my leadership. Second adversity, 2 years later, I was fired from my job. At that time, I was president of KFC Restaurants. It was a really cool job, and I thought it would be the pinnacle job of my career. I thought I'd lead that company to greatness. And I had a million other inaccurate thoughts as well. The outcome, I got fired. The Louisville Courier-Journal ran this headline, KFC president replaced, and they put a really bad picture of me on that page. Frankly, this trial was far more difficult than the health crisis. It was a public failure. It felt like humiliation. The experience forced me to take stock of my leadership approach, examine where I had fallen short, and look at what I needed to change. Lucky for me, I did have a friend who gave me a book to read during this time, and it was a book I'd managed to avoid. It was a bestseller, kind of trendy, everybody was reading it. But finally, I opened it and went to the first page, and here's what the first page of this book said. It's called The Purpose-Driven Life. On page 1, Rick Warren pens these words. The purpose of your life, it's not about you. The purpose of your life is far greater than your own personal fulfillment, your peace of mind, or even your happiness. It's far greater than your family, your career, or even your wildest dreams and ambitions. If you want to know why you were placed on the planet, you must begin with God. You were born by His purpose and for His purpose. Now, whether you're a faith-based leader or not, these words are true. It is not about you. Those words are transformative to life and leadership. For me, it led me on a journey where I came to understand and believe that each human being has a purpose, something they were created for, and that purpose is put to work for the benefit of others. That's why we're on the planet. Now think about it this way. The only success in life, the only memory you will leave is the influence and the impact that you have on other people, the impact on a child, a coworker, a friend, a home, a community, or a company. Turns out the purpose of your life is to serve well the people that have been put in your path. So what did I do with this new understanding? Well, I decided that I would pursue, embrace, and model a new kind of leadership, servant leadership. Here's how I thought about it. When I looked at my experience in the workplace, I had observed that the leaders of large, successful corporations were largely on magazine covers, looking like self-absorbed people on an ambitious path to what culture and society calls success. But these leaders were not creating workplaces where people were thriving and performing their best work. In fact, the Gallup survey of employee engagement says for the last 20 years, only 30% of people in America are excited and happy about their work. 70% say work is some kind of miserable. So these business leaders on the magazines were also not creating stellar results. They were more likely to be creating ethical debacles. You have to remember, my generation was about Enron, WorldCom, Tyco, and more mess. Surely there could be a better leadership approach than this. And that's when I discovered and studied and learned about servant leadership. Let me explain what it means. It's simply the idea of considering others more important than yourself, and the idea that that creates a place where people perform their best work. Well, in fact, people have already written books about that. They're academics and consultants, like Jim Collins wrote a classic leadership book called From Good to Great. It's a great book. And it says, leaders who serve generate superior results. More recently, Adam Grant from Wharton wrote Give and Take, another great book documenting that those who serve with courage and humility generate financial results. But despite the fact that there are best-selling books, if you look around, and I suspect you have, there are still very few leaders putting these ideas to work in the marketplace. So I concluded that my passion and purpose was to create just one example of servant leadership in action in a public company. I just had to find a company that would let me try. So principle 3 is do something brave, and principle 4 is serve others well. I'm going to unpack those two as just one idea. I call it Dare to Serve Leadership. And it's the idea that will be a game changer to your life and leadership if you live it. Let's start with the brave part. Yesterday, I was listening to a speaker online, and she said, you cannot make a lasting impact while being safe. In other words, if you plan to make a difference in the world, you're going to have to do something very few other people are willing to do. And I could not agree more with her. Bravery is required. In my case, I would have to take a job that no one else was willing to take if I was to create this case study of servant leadership. You see, I was a member of the board of directors at Popeyes in 2007. The CEO quit unexpectedly, and we offered that position to several people, two in particular, I remember, who declined. You see, it wasn't a plum job that everyone was rushing to take. It was a company with 7 years of declining sales and profits. It was in trouble. It had a poor reputation. It was dated, some would say irrelevant, and maybe even destined for bankruptcy. And if I'm honest, maybe the board took me as a last resort. It was an unsafe situation that provided the opportunity to demonstrate servant leadership. So principle number 4, serve others well. That was the heart and soul of this story of Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. Let me give you a really brief explanation of what we did over a 9-year period. We led the transformation of this company's business performance on the idea that serving performs. Our plan was this. We created a daring destination for the enterprise. It was a bold, transformational business plan that, when achieved, would make us one of the top-tier chain restaurants in the industry. It was a very bold and brave plan. Then we decided that the measure of our success would be serving others. Specifically, we would serve the franchise owners of Popeyes as the most important people in our system. The franchise owners invest in the buildings, they hire the people, train them, and they serve the guests that amazing Louisiana food. They take virtually all of the business risk, and as their leaders, we determined we could only measure our success by their success. We wanted to serve them well. And thirdly, we decided that we wanted to be a top performing company in the industry because that's the only way you can serve people well. We dared, we served, and we performed. The financial results of the company made the case. Restaurant sales increased 45%, operating profits at the restaurants doubled, market share went up by 75%, and we built over 1,000 stores in the United States and in 26 countries. Those franchise owners that we served and loved prospered. And oh, by the way, the conventional measure of success, stock price, also did well. In the fall of 2007, the stock price was $13. When the board sold the company in 2017, it was $79. By all measures, servant leadership and conventional measures, our case study performed. We wrote that case study up in a book called Dare to Serve: How to Drive Superior Results by Serving Others. But it's not just about my personal story or about Popeyes. It can be about your story if you will listen carefully and learn continuously about leadership. If you will embrace adversity as the best preparation you could ever have. If you will do something brave that no one else was even willing to do, and serve the people well that have been entrusted to your care. Life is going to bring you opportunities for leadership. They may not be the ones you expect, but they may be exactly the moment you're designed for and prepared for. Get yourself ready to be of service, just as Kay James did when she became ready to serve Heritage, just as the policymakers you've met in these classes, they were prepared to serve our nation. Are you going to be a leader who gets ready to serve? Now, my favorite words of inspiration come from an amazing leader in the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King Jr. He was a leader who listened and learned. He saw adversity in our nation. He did something brave and became a leader. And while his life was cut way too short, he served people well. He has a famous sermon called The Drum Major Instinct that challenges us with these words. He said, everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You don't have to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. So in closing today, I give you this charge to be a leader with courage and humility, focused on the call to serve others and make a real difference in the lives of those you touch. That will create a remarkable legacy of service in your life, your work, and in the world. I encourage you, serve well.
Now let's hear from the other hosts of the Academy programs, Colleen Harmon and Kelly Bat-Favong.
Hello, Academy Fellows. Congratulations on completing the program. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you over the course of the past 12 weeks, even in a remote capacity. I've enjoyed so much learning about your interests in politics, in political theory, in foreign, economic, and domestic policy, and all the solutions that you want to bring to our country. And I'm really excited to see what you do with our future. In the meantime, we'll be waiting right here in Washington, D.C. for you to come visit us at the Heritage Foundation and begin your careers. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Good luck with the rest of the year and the rest of your semester.
Good afternoon, Academy Fellows, and happy graduation day. Again, my name is Kelly Bat-Favong, and I'm the Outreach Coordinator for the Young Leaders Program. I wanted to take a moment today and thank you all. I wanted to thank you for spending the past 12 weeks with us. I want to thank you for having the initiative to seek out a new educational program and try to better yourselves this summer. I want to thank you for trusting the YLP staff, myself, Colleen, and Elena throughout the process. And I commend you for participating in Q&A sessions, going out of your comfort zone, learning new things, and really embarking on this journey with us. But what's really going to be memorable for me And what I'm so happy about is that you all have networked with each other throughout the 12 weeks. I've loved watching the friendships form, whether that's through office hours, through cohorts, through the capstones. It's been an absolute pleasure watching you all get to know each other, working with each other, challenging each other on your beliefs, and really creating a network. It's been an absolute pleasure to connect with people from across the country and across the world. This might not have been possible in an in-person environment, and so while I know that virtual environments are tough, I'm so happy that we've all been able to be a part of this journey together. But importantly, I hope to be able to see many of you at future conferences, events, and regional alumni reunions. In my role as outreach coordinator, I'll be traveling all around the country and organizing get-togethers for alumni like you to come together, reconnect with heritage, and meet new people. Once it's safer to travel, I'd love to see many of you in person and get to meet you. But one thing that you can always count on now is that you're a part of the Heritage family. You are an alumni now, and we're so happy to have you as part of our network. You can always count on us to have your back, and we can't wait to see what you do in the freedom and liberty movement going forward. Thank you for an awesome summer, and I can't wait to see what you do. Please stay in touch.
As we come to a close in this graduation ceremony, I would like to recognize the 150 Academy Fellows who ended up graduating from the program this summer. Your hard work, dedication, and prioritizing of an education in liberty was not in vain. We celebrate you, we celebrate your personal and professional success, and we look forward to encouraging you in your career. Thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations.